The third finding and recommendation relates to a program called the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme. Has anybody heard of this program? It's the top-notch talent program. It was a program that was introduced by Tung Chi-Hwa 2 or 3 years after the handover, which was designed to fill a gap in immigration policy that allowed individuals who are intrinsically talented, intrinsically in possession of skills that are going to be valuable to Hong Kong, to essentially apply for a visa to live and work in Hong Kong pro forma, without any other rationale for coming here other than the fact that you like living in Hong Kong and you've got a particular high quality skill set. And so this program, the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme, has been in force for the number of years that it has now, and I've always been sort of super critical of it because of the black box nature of this program. Essentially, the way it works is that the Immigration Department asks you to lift up your skirt and show you absolutely everything in terms of what you represent as an educated individual and a professional. And then, according to a bit of a complex formula, you end up getting assessed into various brackets, and you're in a competition with people that you can't see, where there is a finite number of visas that are going to be issued each selection round, and you've got no visibility over that process, so you've got no idea who you're competing against. And the final sort of categorization that occurred was that once you had got to the point where you were eligible for consideration in the program, you were put into a particular bucket that says, well, yeah, you kind of consider yourself to be in the banking and accounting, or so the accounting and finance bucket, or you're in the creative arts bucket, or you're in the professional services bucket, or you're in the producer services bucket, which is also general and doesn't really give anybody any kind of understanding of what this thing is all about and whether or not it's worth your while even applying in the first place, because it takes about 12 months for these applications to get approved. And the fact is, even though it's called the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme, it should in fact be called the Quality Mainland Migrant Admission Scheme, because when you look at the numbers, only 23% of these applications ever get approved, and 77% of them come from the mainland. So when you break down the sort of the foreign nationals who aren't Chinese, who have been approved under this program, you look at their skill sets and they're all very esoteric. You've got for example, an ice hockey coach, or you've got a concert virtuoso, or you would have a psychotherapist who uses art to deliver therapeutic outcomes. So something very special and very therapeutic about that, very special and esoteric about them. However, the Audit Commission looked at the administration of that program and they realized that there was a hole in it so big that you could drive a bus through. And that is, how do you actually tie that program to the specific skills that Hong Kong actually needs? And so the Audit Commission report said that the Immigration Department should work with the Labour and Welfare Bureau to come up with an occupations in demand list. And if you're fit into an occupation in demand, then the likelihood is that you will get approved under this program. Now, we're still waiting for the introduction for the occupations in demand. That's the talent list. But when it comes out, it's going to represent a significant improvement in the way that this program has historically been implemented. Any questions on that?
Well,
yeah.
Question on this. So for the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme, there are two patterns: the achievement-based and point-based evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
For the point-based evaluation,
Yeah.
Even that you pass the minimum passing marks,
Yeah.
is there any significant difference in an application that, for instance, is scoring 90 points out of 170 or 100 points, 105? So
It's a fantastic question. I have no idea. And nobody has any idea because it's a complete black box. Once you meet the must-meet criteria, you're in the game. But once you're in the game, the curtain closes and you've no idea who you're competing against. So whether you've got 93 points or 162 points, you would ostensibly you would think, well, I've got so many more points than somebody else. I'm obviously got an elevated chance of approval under this program. Whether that's the case or not, I've got no idea.
And also ask
Yeah.
because I do read a little bit on the website and say
Yeah.
that they do quarterly, let's say, they do this
Selections.
quarter selection.
Yeah.
But you said that it takes roughly 12 months from
Yeah.
deposit to...
Yeah. They ostensibly they do quarterly selections, but what they don't tell you is that when the selection committee meets, invariably the process that an applicant has had to travel to get to the point where the selection committee can look at an application and then make the determinations is so drawn out. It's unbelievable, because when you submit your application under this program, you've got to submit a really detailed CV, and you might think, well, okay, detailed CV, no problem. The problem is that in proving your CV, the immigration department are going to look at every single line. They're going to ask for information from every single employer. They're going to pore over all of your transcripts. They're going to pore over everything that you've done. So the correspondence that goes on backwards and forwards to prove your CV is, you know, so daunting that normally it takes at least 12 months to get through that process. It's very onerous.